Dear students, today in this video I am going to discuss about privatization. First of all, privatization means the process of transferring ownership of economic enterprises from public sector to private sector either partially or fully. That means whenever government transfer its ownership from a public enterprise to a private enterprise either partially or fully, then it is said to be privatization. Now, talking about process of privatization, so mainly privatization can be done through investment disinvestment. Secondly, by reducing the number of areas reserved for investment only by the public sector and opening them for investment by private sector. And third one is by establishing public private partnership business. Now, first of all, let's talk about disinvestment. Meaning of disinvestment: the process by which the state disinvests from public enterprises is called disinvestment. That means whenever the government discontinues its investment or withdraws its investment from any public enterprise, then it is said to be disinvestment. Now, talking about the process of disinvestment, so there are two aspects as regarding disinvestment. Now, in order to understand it, let us see this diagram. First of all, disinvestment process. First one is complete disinvestment. So, when government sells all the shares of the state in a public enterprise to private sector, then it is said to be complete disinvestment. That means here government sells its entire stake from an economic enterprise or a public enterprise to a private sector, and therefore it is said to be complete disinvestment. Talking about partial disinvestment, so when government sells some shares from a public enterprise to a private sector, then it is said to be partial disinvestment. Now again, partial disinvestment can be minor disinvestment or major disinvestment. So if less than 51% shares are transferred to private sector, then it is called minor disinvestment. But if more than 51% shares are transferred to private sector, then it is called major disinvestment. Now, besides owning public enterprises, there are also certain areas of strategic importance and public utility services which were initially reserved for investment only by public sector, but now after privatization most of these areas are also declared open for investment by the private sector. Say for example, banking, education, communication, and so on. These are now open not only for private sector but even for foreign investment. So as studied earlier also, that now only three areas are reserved for investment by public sector. That means still private sector does not have any entry in these areas. Those are atomic energy, minerals related to atomic energy, and railways. However, the process of disinvestment from old enterprises continues, while the state may also set up new enterprises. And after independence, there was a significant rise in number of public sector enterprises under the central government. Say for example, on March 31, 1951, there were 5 public sector enterprises, but in 2015 they were around 300. Thank you, students.